Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome to another About Last Nightmare. Now, this is a segment I do with my very good friend Nick, the last Shoegazer. We used to do a two-part review, but because he's been so busy and he had to sideline his channel for a while, I've been kind of taking over the complete role. We still watch a movie together and we still have a great time doing it. This week, I'm proud to bring you Screams of a Winter Night. Now, this has been in the works for a while, and I'll get into the backstory afterwards, but let me give you the essentials on this film. Now, Screams of a Winter Night is depending on which you look at, the IMDb or the actual copyright on the film, 1979 or 1978 anthology film, which runs, and there's two separate run times on this, 91 minutes and 119 minutes. Now, this is directed by James L. Wilson, and surprisingly enough, this is the only movie that he ever directed. This stars Matt Bonnell, Gil Glasgow, Patrick Byers, and actually has a appearance by William Ragsdale, who, if you guys remember, is the guy from Fright Night, the kid. It was his very first appearance. Now, this was made for $300,000, and let me explain to you the specifics and a little story about this film. Now, this has two different cuts. It has a 91-minute cut, which was the theatrical version, and a 119-minute, which was the long-lost director's cut, which, because I said this was an anthology, it offers an extra story, which is so cool. Now, this has been in the works for a while. Nick and I watched the original theatrical cut again. We've both seen it before, probably a month or two ago. And we had planned on watching the director's cut, which we had never seen, the following week. But like I said, we got sidelined. I had things to do. He had things to do, so on and so forth. Now, an interesting story about this. Our good buddy, Joe the Horror Man, actually made Nick and I both a copy of this before it got released from Code Red. This is a Code Red release, as you can see right there. We had both seen it and absolutely loved it. Of course, that was the theatrical cut. When this came out on Code Red, both Nick and I bought the Blu-ray, and because we loved it, also with the intention of doing it on About Last Nightmare. Now, I'm not really going to get into specifics on the film. There is a wraparound where a bunch of kids, they're not really kids, they look like 40-somethings, which Nick and I kind of laugh at. But they go up to a cabin to kind of have fun, drink beer, party, stuff like that. And while they're there, they tell these stories. Now, in the theatrical cut, there was 3 stories. The first story being a monster movie, and I'm not going to say anything more than that because this is a movie that definitely should be viewed. The second being a kind of like a supernatural sort of story. And the third being a slasher. A really cool one at that. Now, the extra segment that was added to the director's cut was a kind of like a witch story, which I actually is my favorite now. Now, the difference in that, one of the things I liked about this movie, and especially the theatrical cut, is that when they told the stories to each other and it became the anthology, it used people that were in the actual cabin itself. So when you're telling the story, they're saying you're imagining yourself actually, sorry about that, that is the car outside. Somebody thinks that they're a speed racer. Anyway, so as they're telling the story, they're imagining themselves in the story itself, which I really thought was a cool way to do it. Now, the only way the fourth segment feels a little bit out of place is because, like I said, it's a witch segment, which doesn't make a difference, but the people that are in the segment are not in the cabin. So it does feel a little bit like it was maybe done a little bit later, just for something to throw in there if they wanted to make it longer or if they needed to cut something out. Now, we both like this. Last week, I know I forgot to give our rating like I usually do. This one we gave a solid 9 to. I absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorite anthologies. And you will definitely be seeing this again in a certain list. Hint, hint. But special thank you to Nick, the last Shoegazer, for watching this with me. I had a ball with this. I always have fun with him. And yeah, if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.